So, Ismeli Henriquez,
Yes,
welcome to YouTube Conversations. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. We'll see what's going on today.
All right. So you're Puerto Rican, right?
No, I'm Dominican. Strike one.
So was Spanish your first language?
It is. Yes, it was.
It was? Okay. And was it difficult for you? What age did you learn English?
Um, Honestly, I don't even remember learning English because I can't. I never went to school. So I'm from Dominican Republic, and I never went to school over there. So I know Spanish because my family and my parents, like my mother, doesn't know any English, so I had no choice growing up but to speak Spanish to her. But I went to English school. I always went to school in America because I came here when I was about 3.5. So I guess I would say I had learned English like around that age, but it's like I was so young I don't remember. Like I don't even remember learning it. It was just like a natural thing.
And you went to school on the West Coast?
East Coast,
East Coast? Where? What
uh,
was what state?
New York.
New York where?
So do you? I mean, are you familiar with PS 153 or like
Mm,
it's in Manhattan? So that's where I
that's where you
was.
grew up at. Because I'm in Queens, New York. I'm from New York as well.
Okay, all
So I
right. So
know
you're.
I'm pretty familiar. Okay.
I mean, I think even Queens is PS. Like all the schools are PS something, right?
Oh no, don't confuse me. I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh,
I'm from Brooklyn.
so you from okay.
Brooklyn and the Bronx. And when I became civilized, I said, let me move out to Queens.
Okay. When I became civilized, yeah, because the Bronx is a whole different breed, right?
Yeah. Now the Bronx is, the violence of the youth is, way out of hand, gangs and so. Well, what happened is that the PPP loan,
Oh, okay.
that's what really hit the streets as far as people not even have a corporation being approved for the PPP loan, and that's being used for prostitute, drugs, and a lot of guns. Everyone has a gun, but the people that are going to work, right? The people who going to work doing the right thing are they getting their ass whooped.
And it's just crazy with the whole PPP loan thing. Like everybody went crazy, and everybody got approved for it. So everybody, and I don't know what the system's gonna do with them if it's even gonna go after. It's so many people that did that. Like you know what? Honestly, it's just let's just take the hit.
The people that went after it, they're the people that are on government assistance. How smart you got to be on living in
You're already
projects.
in their system,
And the
right? Like, yo, wow, that's crazy. I know it was that bad. Like I've heard it's back. I haven't been back into the East Coast for a few years now, but I had heard rumors, but I didn't know it was that bad.
do you miss the East Coast? Do you miss New
Oh
York?
yes, yes,
Why don't you
yes.
move back?
I'm considering it. So I'm in Los Angeles now, right? And it's a culture shock, right? I've been here for a long time now, but um I'm a fast talking Dominican, you know what I mean? And I'm around Mexicans and people that are a lot more laid back and chill, right? So it's like it's cool, but you also miss that fast pace, but then you also miss your culture, and the Dominican culture is not as relevant out here. You know what I mean? So, um, but I am like before COVID, I was considering like I'm kind of tired of California. I don't want to be here no more. Like I'm trying to figure out where else to go, and I went to Miami for my birthday this past year, and I'm like, Miami sounds nice. It's different from because I grew up in New York and Connecticut, so it's both, right? Connecticut, well, I don't want to go back. There's nothing there. It's a place where you go, you retire, you buy a house, and you build a family, right? I don't want to go to Connecticut again. New York is cool, but obviously you know better than I do that New York it's crazy. Like I don't even know if New York's ever gonna go back to what it used to be, and who knows if you even want it to go back to that, right? So New York is not an option, at least for not where I want to go in life right now. So Miami might be a thing, but definitely somewhere in the East Coast. 'Cause I miss just the culture and the people and the vibe there. But I don't know. It might happen in the next year. Who knows? So yeah.
New York is actually becoming probably one of the best cities out there because if you're ever going broke, you just put your mask on, right? You just put your mask on and go up to your neighbor's house and just take what you need. That's basically what's happening, right?
Yeah, if it was that easy. Aren't they like making systems now where they can actually track who you are behind the mask? See, nah, I'm set. But yeah, I mean, the main reason I'm even in California was for acting, and with social media and everything, it's like there's so many opportunities where you don't have to just be in LA to act anymore, you know. You can go to other places and create your own kind of content, or you know, you can put out content, and if you're good enough, and a producer or director finds you, they'll be like, hey, you know, we're in LA, we'll fly you out to audition for this movie or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So there's so many outlets now that when I first came to California, they were probably there, but they weren't as big. So now it's not a thing where you have to be in LA to be an actor type of thing, you know?
So walk me through moving from New York to LA. It's
Or Connecticut
completely
to LA.
Connecticut. Oh, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Still, it's the opposite, right? Other side of the
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
So you mostly did that for you to have a better opportunity in your field, right?
Yes.
So how was that like when you made that decision to do it? Was your family supportive?
No, at all, not at all. And it's funny. So I'll tell you a little. I came right after high school, like 6 months after high school, and I had never like I come from a family that's very protective, and um they're just strict, right? So I've never really been like outside on my own type of thing. Like I never did the partying in high school and all that stuff, right? So I've always been a unsheltered kid in a way. So moving out to California, I was like, I'm gonna go to California. I'm gonna go across the country for the first time, and you know, I want to do a road trip. So, and I didn't drive at the time, right? So my dumb self decided to take a Greyhound bus. Okay. Do you know how? Yes, you see that face you made? Exactly. I
Wow.
wish at 18 I knew not to do that, because it was about a 4-day trip, right? And
And
you're
you
on
was on the bus with
just random strangers.
yeah. And how was the people?
The people were super nice, and like I always say this, like I think people always look at me like, you put yourself in these situations, like you never know, there's bad people out there, and I really do think there's some like angel that's watching over me or something, because even in that situation where I was literally going away from home for the first time, I was 18 years old. I knew nothing about the world. On this bus, anything can happen to me. Like I could get take, like anything can happen. And I met the nicest people, you know, people giving me advice, people asking me like, oh, what are you doing here? And I would, my naive self, I shouldn't have told them, because now you're making yourself more of a target. But I would tell them like I'm moving to California for school and I'm doing acting and da da da. And people would give me advice like where in California you should go visit, what you should do, how you should protect yourself, and this. And it was like I just met nice people. No, not anybody, at least to my knowledge, that wanted to harm me. So that was nice, but the experience of it was terrible. Like, I remember when I got on the bus in Connecticut, right, and I said bye to my family and everything. I remember like it didn't hit me. I was like so excited. I'm like, I can't wait to get out of here. Like, bye. Like, I'm not doing this crying thing. I just want to go. Let me go. Right. And then the bus went to New York. So it went from Connecticut to New York. That was the first stop, because it stops in different states to pick up more people and drop people off. Right. And then when we got to New York, it got dark. And then we were leaving the station in New York. And that's when it hit me like, oh my God, I'm really doing this. And it wasn't like I wasn't scared, but it was just more like it really hit me. Like I'm really doing this. Like I'm really leaving the state. I'm going away from everything and anybody I know. I don't know anybody across the country, and I'm really doing this. And then after that, I was like, okay, we're on a journey, you know. And then as it progressed, so the timetable of this. So I left on the 28th of December. So it was right after Christmas, right? My first day of college, my film school was the January 2nd, I believe, or January 3rd. And I was supposed to get there like one day before. But what happened was, so you're from the East Coast. You know how we get snow over there. We get lots of snow, right? And it's nothing. On the West Coast, you get a little bit of snow and people freak out, right? So while we were going through New Mexico, are you predicting where this is going already? So as we were going through New Mexico, apparently there was a or was it Texas? No, we were passing through Texas, and the next state over was New Mexico that we would stop at. But apparently it was snowing in New Mexico. They had 1 inch of snow. They closed the roads for 1 inch of snow. So I spent my New Year's night in a Greyhound bus in Texas, Amarillo, Texas. It was freezing. They gave us like sandwiches or something because they felt bad or whatever the hell it was. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse.
No, you could.
Okay. But yeah, and it was just freezing, and literally I had people calling me saying Happy New Year's, and I'm like, oh, Happy New Year's. I'm on I'm on a bus in New Mexico, in Texas. So that was an experience, but and I just remember, like, I was like, oh my God, like I forgot what city or town we were in or state, but I was like, I just want to turn back. Like, I'm over being on this bus for 4 days. I'm like, I feel gross. You can't shower. Like, you had to go to the bathroom and clean yourself up. It was a terrible experience that I don't recommend it for anybody. If you're gonna do a cross country trip, make sure it's in a car and it's on your terms. But yeah, I was this close to like, listen, I'm just gonna find the nearest airport and I'm going back home. And then I was like, no, we're already here. We're literally like 2 states away. We're gonna do it. And then we finally did it. I forgot where I was going with this. So yeah, that was the story of how I came to California for the first time. But going back to your question about like if my family was supportive, so I would say yes and no. Like, it was more of a thing of my mother specifically, she'd be like, you know, you're gonna come back. Like, you're not gonna last that long over there, or like, why are you doing this? Like, just stay here. And then she'll say that here and there, but then she'd leave it alone. And then everybody else, if they had certain bad opinions, they really wouldn't tell me, but I would hear years later down the road of what they really thought about it. They thought it was a terrible idea. They thought the worst things, you know what I mean? So it's like a weird mix. They were kind of supportive, but not really. More like not supportive of it, I guess you could, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I believe the family people. Well, first of all, if you're not related and I'm doing something, and you're supposed to be close to me, you don't at least a post is free, right? You ask someone to post something, and they act like you're asking for money.
Yeah.
And I won't speak to them again, right? So I think what it is that family don't support you because they don't it doesn't understand. Like, I think it's not their journey.
It's not their journey, but I would also say one with social media, it's a whole different generation, right? It's like they don't understand that because they've never dealt with it. You know what I mean? It's like I bringing in the metaverse. Let's say the metaverse weren't to become. Are you familiar with the metaverse situation?
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can slap Mark Zuckerberg in the metaverse because it's supposed to be in person, right? So
yeah.
Supposedly what's going to happen is that debt collectors are able to
What?
Okay. So supposedly debt collectors are able to, in the metaverse of Facebook, able to virtually talk to you about the bill you owe.
Yo, that's when you click. He said you have an option to block people. You block them.
I guarantee you, some people are gonna get beat up in the metaverse first before you get blocked.
Oh man. But why I brought up the metaverse is because I think, imagine if the metaverse weren't a thing of us right now, but it happened like 30 years down the line, right? Where we're already older, technology's like, we're already like glitching. Like, this doesn't make any sense anymore to me, right? Like our parents did at one point. So I feel like social media is like that. If the metaverse were to become a thing where we don't experience it and it happens like 30 years down the line and our kids were to try to explain it to us, it's the same thing. We were like, okay, that makes no sense. You sound cuckoo. Like, even me, I'm like, kind of against it, and I'm in the generation that's getting put into it, right? So I think it's the same thing with their parents and social media. When you try to explain to them like, hey, I can make money online, and the crazy thing is a lot of them have this vision of they want you to go to school and get a 9-to-5 or get a corporate job or whatever they think is their idea of success, right? And it's crazy because there's YouTubers or online content creators that are making way more than that, and in just 1 year, more than some people will make in their lifetime working these regular successful jobs, right? But it's like our parents don't understand that, and if they really were to be able to wrap their heads around it, they'd be like, oh yeah, by all means, go for it. But again, it's just something that they don't understand because they didn't experience it growing up. And it's even for us, it's like this weird, it's like this not known world. Like, we're still trying to figure it out, how the whole internet thing works and how to go viral, how to make money off of it, how to do this, you know what I mean? So sometimes I'm like, listen, I'm not even gonna explain it to you. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you dread that conversation of, do I really gotta explain this to you? Because you're not gonna get it. Like, I'm gonna just be like, yeah, okay. So,
So let's take a little step back, right? So,
yeah.
did you grow up in a two-parent household?
Yeah, kind of. So I grew up with my mother and my stepfather. My dad is still in Dominican Republic. But my stepdad, I've known him since I was about 4, maybe like 4.5. So he's like my dad. Like, he's done all the fatherly things. So in a way I would say yes, but he's not my real dad. But yeah, I grew up with 2 parents in the household.
And so did you also grow up with um, did you see your people that you grew up with that didn't have no father in the household?
Um for some reason stuff that I didn't think about. So kind of. I think it's weird because I feel like almost everybody in my family, they all had stepdads and stepmoms. So in a way, they did grow up with 2-parent households, but they were broken families in a way. Um, yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Why do you think, as far as in the black community, um, fathers are nowhere to be present, right? Not all, of course not, but that's 75%. There's a study out that, according to 2019, 75% of black children are born in a single parent household. Whereas, I know that the Hispanic culture, there's mostly a man inside the house,
Yeah.
right? What is that we're missing, you believe?
Huh. Let me think about this because this is
Well,
a.
I do know that there's a lot of Dominican men that I know they have a whole new family in DR, right?
Yeah.
But they're still in the house.
um. Let me explain to you why that is, right? So just to give you a little background on the Dominican or Hispanic households and immigration, right? Because immigration takes a big part as to why families break up and then they end up with stepfathers and stuff like that. So um usually when you come to the States and you're an immigrant, and let's say you have either you're legal or you're not legal, right? And you're working to be legalized or whatever it is. Usually you can't bring your family over. Like, it's very expensive for you to bring yourself over. So now imagine if you have kids and a wife, it's super expensive, right? So a lot of them will come to this country and they'll start working, and they're working towards also bringing their family over. But sometimes it takes years, right? They end up finding somebody else, but at the end of the day, they still have this thing of, I have a family back in DR and I have to provide for them. So they always send money. So they have that one over there. And then they end up having a family here. And then on top of that, it's like, let's say it's 10 years where you came to this country and um you left your family over there. Eventually, as a man, gonna have needs, right? So it's gonna happen. And then you have this power over the family in DR because you're sending them money. Without you, they have no way of surviving out there, right? So it's like that wife over there, she probably has another man on us on the side too that you probably don't even know about, but people be calling you like, hey, I saw your wife with so and so. You know what I mean? So it's like they understand. There's an understanding. There's like, I have some type of responsibility to you guys over there, but at the end of the day, life goes on. So that's that weird dynamic of that. And then to answer your question of, Hispanic versus, black families, there's so much to it because obviously I don't want to generalize, but in a way it's like, the numbers speak for it. But I think this is what it is. I think it comes down to what people deal with, right? I think Latinas and or just, the Hispanic community in general, cheating always happens, right? And I mean, even my grandmother, like my grandfather has so many kids. Like they're spread out around the island. It's fucking, sorry, excuse me, it's freaking crazy, right? And that was just a normal thing. Yeah, it sucks, but it's like they to an extent they learn to deal with it, especially when your husband is your provider and he's your and he takes care of you. It's like you kind of weigh that. And I think Hispanics are very traditional in a way of, once they get married, they don't want to keep getting married, especially the women, right? You have kids with this person, you don't want to continue doing it. And I think because we're immigrants and we have that old school tradition, that's why there's still so many men in the household, despite them probably cheating and stepping out and all this other stuff. And the reason I say that is because I think even with black families, the main reason a lot of them break up is for infidelity, or men getting locked up too. That's another big one, right? So I think in America, there's this Western ideal of I'm empowered, and you know what, you cheat on me, I don't got to deal with you. And black women, because they're American, they have that same ideology. So if their man steps out on them, they're like, I don't got to deal with your shit. Also, one thing that you have to also consider is in America, you get child support, you get all these help from the government, right? So it's like, okay, well, I don't need a man that's cheating on me. I can just get help from the government. Why do I got to deal with you? Versus Hispanic women that are in other countries, or they come here, more and more of them are getting they're learning about it, but I think with them they didn't have the option of getting all these helps from the government. Especially if you're an immigrant and you're illegal here, you're not going to get help, right? Unless your kids are born here, it's a whole different thing. But I think that might be a big reason as to why there's that big divide. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I mean, I can't speak for it because even though Dominicans, we are black in a way, it's different. There's a different culture. So I guess I can't speak for it because I don't know the real reason. I mean, you could probably, give me more details as to why you think, and maybe I can add to that.
Well, one of the major reasons is that, well, first of all, when it comes to the black culture, I don't have any children. I'm pushing 40, right? 36, no kids.
Okay.
Most of my family don't have children yet as well. Part of the reason why is because you have a small percentage. You have 100 men, right? In America, black men, only 12%, maybe 9 to 10% are impregnating several women, meaning that the women are getting pregnant by multiple men, but the multiple men that are black, it's the same group of guys.
Okay.
It's not generalized where a lot of the black men, a lot of them are getting women pregnant. There's a high percentage of men. I think 57% of black men don't have any children in America.
Okay.
So what's happening is that you have a small percentage of men that are no good, right? They're no good. They're um, doing drugs or just out there being a player, whatever it is, and they have no they don't care about taking care of their children. I used to
And
sell
they're
life.
the ones that are impregnating versus the ones that can provide for a family are the ones like I'm staying away for now. They're making the better decisions and saying I'm gonna do when I'm ready. Okay, wow, I didn't know that.
Exactly. So I used to sell life insurance, and I was wondering why women are more interested in the life insurance for the children, and the men are not. They ain't taking care of the kids. The
Yeah.
men. I asked them, "Hey, so when's your child's birthday?" Oh,
I don't know. Yeah. Wow.
But
Okay.
it took me a long time, years to figure out. Oh, he don't even take care of his kid. That's why he don't know. Some men rather uh, I guess not take care of their own children, but go with another woman that has kids, live in her house, and take care of her children than their own. That's what a lot was
Why do you
happening.
think that is?
Easier.
To
At the end
take
of the
care of
day,
somebody
I'm
else's
not responsible for these children. These are not my kids.
true,
She's
and
on
if the
government
one that decide
assistance.
don't want to take care of them anymore, you can't be held accountable for it.
Can't be
Makes
held
sense.
accountable. You can't tell me. Well, now you can, but really can't take me for child support. If I decide to dip, I decide to pack up and go. Good luck.
Yeah.
You can't hold me accountable for nothing with those kids. So that's one of the major reasons, and you nailed it, right? So you have, let's take a black family. The husband is cheating, right? Um, if there's no government assistance and she's depending on him financially, most likely she's not going to leave him
Yeah.
if there's no government assistance. So just like what you said with your culture, the men are men. It doesn't matter what culture, what race they are, but it's just the fact that because women have children and they want their children to be provided for, even Christmas stuff like Christmas comes up, right? They want their kids to have gifts and those kinds, just be a family. In America, most women are better off on government assistance than being with a man.
Yeah. 100%.
So if a man makes $50,000 a year, and a man makes $50,000 a year, has 3 to 4 kids, he can't he $50,000 a year, you don't
It barely
qualify
makes
for.
enough for yourself to have a comfortable life. Yeah.
Yeah, so that so a lot of women are better off. So that's part of the reason why it's government assistance,
Yeah.
and a few other factors, but that's one of the main reasons. So if you were to take your siblings, right,
Hmm.
put you all in the room, what happens?
I think I would pick on my. So I have two sisters, but they're from different parents, and two they've never met. So one is from my dad's side, and my dad's in DR, and my sister, she's in the US, and she's from my mom. Um, I have more of a relationship with her, with my sister from the US. If you were to put me and her in a room, I'm just gonna pick on her. Yeah, she's 10 years younger than me, so I just pick on her. And so my sister, she likes to call herself a dyke. So I will wrestle, like I really wrestled with her. The last time I saw her, that's what we did. We wrestled and we fought. And yeah, I mean, I also just pick on her and ask her about her girlfriends and what's yeah.
How did you get the cut on your lip?
Oh, the cut of my so when I was five, yeah. So you know this better than most people on the east on the west coast. So you know how in New York in the summer they open the fire hydrants, they let it
Yeah.
all out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was Central Park. So my mom took me to Central Park, and as a kid when you climb up the slide, like instead of going down, you climb up
Down,
it.
you go up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was climbing up the slide, and it was and at the park they had the fire hydrant. They open it, so the slide is wet, right? And I'm over here climbing up the slide. It's slippery, so I slipped, and then the slide was made of it was like an aluminum slide, from what I remember, or like had that like coating. So I slipped and I hit my lip on the railing of the slide. You would think it wouldn't be that much of like a bad hit, but I had to get, I think it was like 5 stitches on the inside and like 4 or 3 on the outside. So it was blood everywhere. Like I had really, really long hair. There was blood all over my hair. I had like those beach towels. It was a mess. So that's how I got the scar. Cause that happened, and the stitches, when they healed, they just healed with a little bit of a scar. So yeah.
Do you get asked that often?
Yes and no. I mean, I think in the beginning, like maybe like 5-6 years ago, I used to be asked more. But as of lately, no. I think unless like you're really close up or like you're really paying attention to my face, I feel like you can probably tell, but it kind of, I think your brain like looks over it at this point. I think. I don't know.
No, it's not too noticeable. I just because I'm finding out information about you.
Yeah.
So, woman and Instagram filters.
Oh, yes. What do I think about it?
Tell me about it. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what I think about them real quick. So, cause I use them, we're all guilty. I don't know if you're guilty of them, but I think 99% of women. I'm gonna give that 1%, but I'm being generous. 99% of women use filters, right? At some point. But here's the thing: I've tried. Like sometimes I'll do stories and I have no makeup. I'm chilling at home. I'm not gonna put on a whole bunch of makeup to look good on camera, right? So filters help, right? But sometimes they make you look worse. Like I literally will sometimes like, I got something in my mind, I want to talk about it. Let me do it, right? But I'm like, we could be like, this is one thing I'll say. We can look great, right? In person, you look in the mirror, you look good. But as soon as you turn the camera on, like it brings out all your imperfections. I don't know what it is, but it's like you can look good. As soon as you turn that camera on, it's like, I don't know how, I'm not feeling it. So I have something to say, and I'm like, I want to turn the filter on, so I can look kind of good. And then I'm like scrolling, I'm like, these just don't look like me, or this should just look crazy. So I'm not like, I use them, but I'm really not a big fan of them. I like the funky ones with the big mouth and all the weird stuff. I like those are fun, but the beauty ones, I'm like, I don't know. But listen, there's some weird ones. There's ones that paint your face white. I'm like, I don't want my face to be white. I want to be tan. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, filters are cool, but it's getting to a thing where it's uncomfortable to like look at yourself regular. Like there was a few years ago, we can all do stories without filters on our faces. Now it's like, if you do it, it's like, I don't know how I feel about. I look kind of weird. You know what I mean? Even women that put makeup on, they'll put a filter on top of the makeup. I'm like, your filter's already on your face. You have a whole, you know what I mean? So filters just blur out everything and makes you look like a little Barbie doll that's not real. And we have this obsession with perfection, even though we're not perfect. So I think filters add on to that, and then you trick your mind. You can't get used to not seeing yourself without it anymore because now you're imperfect again. You know what I mean? So that's in a nutshell. But if you want to break that down in any way, let me know. That's
Yeah,
a very broad topic. So yeah.
yeah, because it has gotten to a point, been there, but it's really gotten to a point where people are uncomfortable with the way they was born. You
Yeah.
know, the way they was born is like this whole thing. Have you heard about the BBL when they're on? I think it was like 40 women were coming from like the same airplane coming from, I believe it was either Brazil or DR, coming back to the US, and they all was on their back, on their stomach from the surgery.
Wow. I did
So a
not.
lot of them are, originally built like a refrigerator. You see a refrigerator, you open it, the bottom is there at the bottom, just the shape of it. And then they get the surgery and they look different. But
Yeah.
I think people they forget that when they have a daughter, she's gonna come out looking like a refrigerator,
Yes.
you know? So
See
a
the
lot.
whole. I mean with this whole like the social media has played such a big part in it, and it's it's really bad. But I agree with you. I talked about this before, where it's like it's cool for you, right? Like I think when we're in the moment when we're right now, like, you know what, this makes me feel better, and I have bigger boobs now, I have a bigger butt now, I got my lips bigger, like I enhance my beauty, right? They make themselves feel better by saying my beauty was there, but I enhanced it. Okay, all power to you, right? If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But like you said, now yes, your daughter's going to be born the same body you had. Your genetics are going to be passed down to her, so now she's going to feel like she has to get the same type of body you have because, well, my mother did it, and she looks good, I want to look like her, I want to, so. And then not even that, but also when you post it on social media, now you have all these little girls that see it and like, oh, well, I don't feel right, or I don't feel good because her body looks really good, and I know I can never achieve that. These were the boobs I was born with. I can't do anything about them, but I can get them enhanced. So let me go do the same thing. And honestly, they don't even look good sometimes. Like I be looking at someone, I'm just like, bro, this should look crazy. Like I don't need, like, you know what I mean? And maybe they didn't want it to turn out that way, but they had a bad surgery or whatever happened. But like it doesn't look good. So I'm like, and honestly, listen, I think we're all guilty of it. You're scrolling through social media, and at one point, like, man, I kind of want my butt to look bigger. Like, damn, her butt look good, right? And like, what if I got a BBL? And then it's like a 5-second thing, and I'm like, nah, can't do it. Why? Because I kind of want to be proud, like, hey, I could go to the gym and build this type thing. You know what I mean? And then you can change your genetics that way, technically. So, but yeah, it's just like I said, it goes back to that whole thing of perfection. It's like the sex appeal, for the longest time, the perfect female body has been very curvy, right? When you describe the perfect woman, men and women, like there's very few men that be like, oh yeah, my perfect woman will be like this. A lot of men want some type of ass, some type of boob, some type of something, and then women, because we want to please men in a way, right? And we also want to please ourselves. Now we think that's the perfect body. You know what I mean? So now we strive to have that, and it's like, I don't. Yeah, it's just we're switching our brain and programming to think that this is what you should achieve for. So I don't know. It's complicated. And it's like, how can we go back or away from that? You know what I mean?
What do you think about
Let you go.
okay, so the women that are having those enhancements, right? It could be anything, right? Enhancements. Are they getting married? Are men proposing to them in a general sense? Because where you're at, I'm pretty sure it's crazy over there, right?
Yeah.
Are they married in general?
um. Yes and no. And this is the reason I say yes and no. Because a lot of women are getting certain, like, if you get a job done, right? A lot of boob jobs can be like done where they don't look overly made, right? You don't look like you got anything done, right? So those are getting married. A lot of women are getting it done while they're already in a relationship, right? And then I feel like once you get it done, your husband or boyfriend is gonna be like, oh, I'm not okay. You know what I mean? I think.
What about the women that are single and they get it done? Like after, do you, from what
I
in
think
general?
I would say that no. I would say no to that. Because one, you're already giving this idea like I'm a sex symbol, right? And I think when you give the idea of I'm a sex symbol, yeah, men are gonna want to look at you and they're gonna be like, oh wow, she looks good, but they're gonna be looking at you as I want to fuck versus hey, I want to actually get to know you. And that it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because if you have no body, or like if you know you're not like, your body's not like boom, oh wow, that she looks great. You know, if a man decides to talk to you, yeah, he might want to fuck because at the end of the day he's a guy, but he's also getting to know you because he wants to get to know you. He thinks you're beautiful, right? Versus if you have this banging ass body, some women have ugly ass faces and they have a banging ass body, and men will fuck them because they have a nice body, but then they will never talk to you again. If you think about it, let's tap into the transgender thing, right? Transgender women have the same bodies that these women are getting nowadays. Like, they look the exact same. Their hips are the same ratio, their butts are the same ratio, because all they're doing is going to a surgeon and doing that same body, right? So now it's like, what makes a man, what differentiates a man from fucking this girl and fucking that transgender? They look the same, right? It's different now if you're dating them, because now people will know. But it's like, if you fuck them and nobody got to know, it's behind closed doors, right? So but yeah, to answer your question, I guess the ones that are single and getting it done, they're not getting in relationships or getting married because men are already putting you in this category of you're just a sexy girl, and you know, you're like the side chick type thing, you know. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
If a straight man has sex with a man that has sex change, is he
Yes.
gay? I know
That's
you
I've
cover
talked
that
about
in your interview. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's the golden question. In my opinion, it's like a yes and no, because it's
he's
like
gay.
but here's the thing, right? So like, if he knows, it's just it's complicated, because from what I've heard, the surgeries are like top notch. Like, some of them. Again, I've never seen one in person, but from what I've heard, some surgeries look really good. Like, I know this girl, she's a transgendered female. She went from a male to a female. And she has a great body. She in the face you can kind of tell like something's off. But she has told me like her. Can I say the word, the V word?
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So her vagina, she says it gets wet. It looks like a vagina. So it's like, when you put it in that perspective, I'm like, okay, it's not gay, right? But when you think back, like, okay, you used to be a guy, now it does become gay. Also, it's like, if a man doesn't know he's having sex with a transgender, then he can't be gay. You know what I mean?
He's
Until she
gay.
tells you after the fact.
He's gay.
Why do you think so?
Man's a man, woman's a woman. Gay.
I agree with you there, but it's the thing of, I mean, is it an energy? Would you say it's like an energy thing? Like, you should sense that he used to be a man in the past.
Well, I mean, I really don't know because of they're Transformers, right? Decepticons. So it's kind of hard to figure out whether or not, but I can guarantee you that if I do happen to get in that situation, um, you will get treated as if a man is trying to rob me, you know?
I got it. Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely that exchange will definitely, that event will occur.
You're
So
saying if they were to trick you into a situation, or if they were to, right? That's what you mean. Like, if
that's exactly what I mean. Yep.
okay.
Yep.
I mean, I agree with you. I feel like if somebody tricks you in a situation like that and they don't tell you, especially in something that's so sensitive, I would 100% like, yes, we're squaring up, because that's kind of an invasion of, that's almost like rape in a way. That's like rape.
But now, what I'm also saying is that um, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have the right to have the surgery. I'm against it. Number one, right? I'm against it 100%. But that's me, okay? My household. So other people outside, adults, if you've seen, if you've been mentally, because you're supposed to be mentally evaluated. Even when you do like bleaching your skin, you got to get evaluated mentally, and you check out. I think you should have the right to do that. Now, what do you think about children having children around, I think 8 or 10 years old, I think in California, have the right to have their sex change?
Totally against that. 100%, million times percent against that. It's always tricky, and I mean, I get the sense that you're like, you know what, listen, I'm gonna speak freely, and I'm the same way. Cause I know people are so sensitive nowadays, but I'm very like, I'm the same way. I'm like, you know what, if that's what you want to do, then you're an adult. You should be able to do. You have freedom of speech, and you have freedom to do whatever you want to do with yourself. But when you try to, kids' brains are very what's the word I'm looking for? They're very, you can manipulate a kid very easily, right? They're still trying to figure life out. They don't know half of anything. They don't even know how to shower yet. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know what they want to eat. Like they know nothing, right? So now you push this idea on them all the time. You know, like I don't know if you've heard, but they brought like transgender days at school or spend the day with a transgender. And I'm like, I understand what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to bring awareness, but I'm like, that's not your job. That is the parent's job. If the parent says, you know what, I think I want to expose my kid to this extent, you know, I mean, obviously you should make them aware of it because they're going to come across it in their life eventually, but to put them in a situation where they're like absorbed into this idea, it's like you're putting certain things in them, you know what I mean? And so that's one thing I'm completely against. And then now letting kids change their sex at such a young age, I mean, the biology alone, I don't even think that should be allowed. I mean, you go through puberty at like what, 12 years old now? So if you can change your sex at 10, 11 years old, it's like, why we're completely going against biology and science and everything nature, in my opinion. And on top of that, the kid doesn't even know what it is, you know what I mean? Like you're changing your, like, people have the argument of, is it sexuality or is it just how they feel inside, right? Because that's what they say, transgenders, I feel like a woman but I was born a man, so I gotta go through the change, right? But when you're changing your genitalia, that's not something of I feel a certain way. That's a thing of I'm changing, like, my everything about my life. I'm deciding right now, like in the future, if I wanted to have kids, I can't anymore. And you're letting a 10, 11-year-old do that? Are you out of your mind? That's like letting a kid drive you around. A 10, 11-year-old say, hey, you know, you make the decisions in life. What? That makes no sense. So I'm like, so I actually haven't heard of people letting kids change their gender at that age. I've heard of people saying like, hey, you can be a cross dresser, and I'm like, you know what? I don't agree with that as much, but that's not as harmful. You know what I mean? Versus changing your actual gender and going through a surgery. Again, I haven't heard of that, but if that's a thing, that needs to be stopped like right now. Because I don't know if you've done any research into it at all, but I've done a lot because I think the topic really intrigues me, and I've watched interviews with men and women who were born in like 1950, 1940. These are people that are older already, right? And they went through a gender I forgot what the name of the surgery, but they've gone through, you know, the surgery, right? And then 20, 30 years on the line, they regretted it. They try to reverse everything, but you can't reverse anything anymore. You already cut your genitalia off, or you've cut something out. You can't have kids. You can't reverse it. Your whole life has changed over whatever you were feeling in that moment, right? And imagine if an adult, a 30-year-old adult, can feel that. Imagine a kid. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't agree with it at all. Again, it's one of those things where it's like we can have our opinion on it, but it's like at the end of the day, it's not our place. But when it comes to kids, I'm like, it is my place, because one day I'm gonna have kids, and it's not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
And I think that the thing about it is that it's gotten so much out of hand, you know, as far as trying to make everyone acceptable to accepting it's okay for a woman to put so much makeup on that she's not who she is, right? That's not who she looks that's not really how she looks like.
yep,
Have you heard about the whole Gabby Petito situation?
yes, yeah.
Okay, so did you ever see their I guess like the van life video?
I think I saw a few where it's
Some
like they
sort of
were like
intro of them
jogging.
traveling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you watch that, isn't that the most deceiving video you've seen on social media as far as like relationship goes?
Because it was so like happy go lucky, but they were going through so much. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing too, is this like, you know, when you look at social media, things are not, the grass is never greener on the other side,
Yep.
right? Your grass is not green because you're not watering it. You're not cutting it. You're not taking care of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So let's talk about your acting, right? Let's talk
Okay.
about your acting. How many auditions have you went on?
Oh my god, way too many. I remember at one point, I had like a few months where my agent was sending me out like nonstop, and I think I was going on like 8, 10 auditions a week. And usually, some some actors have a trouble going on auditions. Like you'll get like 1 or 2 a week. Now I was going like 8 to 10 a week. You know what I mean? And sometimes maybe more. I'd be going from one to the other, running across town and doing all this stuff. So now imagine that for 6 years. That's how many auditions I went on.
Are you the youngest? I know you do a lot of collaboration with a lot of the content creators, right?
Yeah.
Are you the youngest?
Out of, what do you mean, like out of my family or out of the content creators?
The content creator that you work with.
I'm one of the youngest. I'm pretty sure there's somebody else out there that's younger, but I believe most of them are like in their 30s or like reaching 30. Especially when I was like 2 years ago when we were all really working together. I was 23, and yeah, so I'm one of the youngest. I'm sure there's somebody else out there that's younger than me, but I can't think of one right now. But yeah, I think I was one of the youngest.
Okay, so when you started to do your YouTube clips, you wasn't doing your own. You was mostly in someone else's video, right?
Yes. So I believe I had like done a couple of my own prior. But when I really like got into it, it was everybody else. Like everybody was hitting me up left and right, like, "Hey, be in my video," and it kind of just took a little life of its own.
What's your biggest pet peeve when you're recording with someone else?
I feel like I'm the pet peeve because I'm like, let's do it again. Sorry, I'm taking long on this one. I'm trying
No, it's okay, it's okay. I mean, we're not gonna name who, but just
yeah.
I guess just in general,
I mean,
You're pretty much a person that likes to start on time with things, right?
no. This is why I say I feel like I'm the pet peeve, because I have this terrible habit of being late. Like I remember reading something a long time ago where they said that people that are late are optimists, and I'm a huge optimist. Like I'm 100% an optimist. And the reason we're late is because we think we're gonna get there on time. I'm optimistic I'm gonna get there on time, and then you're always late. So I'm always late to everything. So that's when, like, maybe I'm the pet peeve because I was always late. And then, I mean, I guess the biggest pet peeve would be just doing a whole bunch of takes after you've been recording for mad long. I think that's it. But honestly, because with sketches, it's all very fun and it's like very improv, and we're kind of just bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff. I feel like you don't even have a bad vibe, like unless you're like having a day where you're like you've done mad stuff before coming to film and you're like, listen, I'm just tired and I want to go home. That's the only time it really downs in on you. But for the most part, I feel like we're all just vibing off of each other, and when we're vibing well, I feel like the sketches come out even better. So I feel like for the most part, we really don't have any bad like any pet peeves on my end. And then also, like, a lot of it ends up being bloopers and they're funny, you know what I mean? So
okay.
Unlike when you're filming for a movie or a TV show, it's a complete different thing, because it's like we're not really playing around. You have millions of dollars on the line that they're investing into this, so it's like we're not really goofing off. You're doing takes after take after take after take, and it's just like, it's not play, it's more work. Versus sketches felt more like play.
Yeah. Who do you feel like, as far as a content creator you collaborated with, that's like a perfectionist? Gotta get it right. Gotta get it right. Gotta get it right.
Maybe El Haj? I would say El Haj. Are you familiar with El Haj?
El Haj? I mean, I see a lot of content creators, so probably.
I would say El Haj. I mean, and maybe Virgil too. I think Virgil and El Haj. Yeah.
Okay, because I see a lot of the behind scenes. I know you've worked with Big Job before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he kind of like a perfectionist? Like he wants to do it
Actually,
over?
yeah, he is too. But he's just like a big teddy bear, so I feel like it comes off that way. But yeah, I would say him too. Yeah.
When you moved out to LA, who do you feel like, content creator wise, Who gave you your big break? Maybe they didn't blow you up, but just someone that kind of schooled you on how things work and bring you in to meet everyone else. And who would you give credit to that?
I would give credit to Virgil and Ken. So Virgil was the one that introduced me to everybody. He reached out to me one day and was like, "Hey, let's do sketch," and I literally met everybody with him. Um, and then in terms of schooling me, I would say Ken and El Haj, I would say, because Ken, he was always telling me like, "Hey, you should do this, you should try that," and he was always giving me ideas of like, "Hey, I can see you filming this." And then El Haj was always telling me like, he was putting me on game, like, "Hey, if you do videos on here, if you do videos on there," type of stuff. So I would say them three. So Virgil, because he brought me into the whole thing, and I did a lot of my first like YouTube sketches with him. And then El Haj and Ken for sure.
El Haj has dreads.
Yeah, so it's like he has glasses.
Got it. Okay, yes, I follow him. Okay, I didn't. I thought it was Elijah. Okay, maybe I can't spell.
No, it's El Haj. Yeah.
Oh, got it. He has like a He did some skits with like an African accent, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, that's his whole thing now. He changed because he's from Africa. I forgot what country in Africa though, but he's at like his whole family's really from there. So he's transitioning his whole channel to that, which I think is really cool. And he's filming stuff in Africa and doing it in his language. So I think that's really cool. Because he's bringing that culture awareness to it.
Your door opened. Was that the animal that did that, or
My dog, yeah, he opened it. That's why I was like, I don't.
I was like, wait, what's going on here?
We gotta go.
The Blair Witch Project. No, it's okay. So who do you, when you're collaborating with other people, um, who do you like to collaborate the most? We know everyone in general is
Yeah.
is great, but who would you say your go-to person is?
Ken. I think Ken was always my favorite. I think Ken has a really interesting mind, and he always found a way to also make it smart comedy. So I liked working with him a lot, and also the vibe was just like, when you work with somebody and it's like it just works. It was always like that. So yeah, Ken.
Smart comedy is not what people do. A lot of people not doing that, right?
Yes, exactly. So with him, I was like, that's why I like. Are you familiar? You've seen Ken stuff, right?
I've seen a lot of people's stuff, so I would have to.
He does like the ICU. No.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You call
So
him
I feel
Kent?
like
Is it?
his ICUs are a perfect example of what I mean by smart comedy. Um. So yeah.
Yeah, I seen the I seen the one when he went outside. I guess is in the sketch. His wife was like, "You can do it," and he's like, "What about the Latinas? You
Oh,
can handle it." And then he went outside and y'all was like seducing him,
yeah.
and he was like, "Two Latinas."
he's
Yeah,
he's funny. He's hilarious. Yeah.
he seems like he writes a lot, right? Like he comes up with
Yeah.
a lot of a
Yeah.
lot of content. Yep, yep. So when you moving out to LA, and you're collaborating people, and you're working. What is your biggest disappointment?
And moving to LA, or what do you mean?
Just keep creating content with other people. Like, what's your biggest disappointment?
Um. I would say my biggest disappointment would be the kind of content I really let myself get into. Because
Like,
coming like when I first moved to California, I wasn't doing like it took me 3 years to get into sketches, right? Prior to that, I was acting. Like I was actually out there auditioning, taking acting classes. Um, like I was an act. I guess you could say actor. Like at that time, I remember being a content creator was like looked down upon. It was like a thing of those are not real actors. Those are terrible actors, right? So for a while too, I was like I don't want to get into that. But then I got into it and I was like, oh, this is cool. It gives you a platform, but then also it gives you more power. But then I found myself, especially when I was doing the sketches, of getting into a place of doing a lot of the sexual stuff, right? And then it took me away from what like the acting. Like it turned into this is all for laughs and giggles and views versus the craft. So I think that was my biggest disappointment at one point, and I was like, I don't want to continue doing this stuff because at the end of the day, I'm an actress. I didn't spend all this time and money and I didn't move across the country to do sexy sketches. You know what I mean? So I think that was my biggest disappointment. But then again, it wasn't a big disappointment because I learned a lot. So I don't like to say disappointment. Yeah.
most of the content creators are a lot of repetition, just a lot of very sexual, very very sexual, and you know,
And
I
it's
think
I'll say this because I feel like I don't want to give anybody bad rep because again, when you get into content creator, um, you continue doing what gets you views, right? And I think the
yeah,
internet complains a lot about what they get, but they're the ones giving them the views. They're the ones commenting. They're the ones that are saying, "Hey, we like this. Keep pushing it," right? But then they'll complain about it and say, "You know what? Ah, this is not the best." But then you're still, you know what I mean? And when somebody puts out like really great thought out work, like if somebody puts out a short film that's great storyline and has depth and everything, people won't support it as much, right? So it's like you got to give content creators credit because some of them might not even want to keep doing the sexual stuff. Sorry, my dog is just being needy.
no, that's
So
okay,
hope
that's
you don't
okay.
mind. Hi, Papa. But you got to give them credit because at the end of the day, you're trying to make. It's the same thing with you, right? You're putting content out there and like let's say some raunchy stuff. Like you do a very like ghetto raunchy interview, right? And it does great numbers, and all of a
With
sudden
roaches
your
in the
channel.
background.
No, that looks great. Trust
Yeah,
me, it
yeah.
looks good. But you know, and it does numbers, and then all of a sudden your channel gets monetized. I don't know if it's, but and then all of a sudden ads are doing great, and you know people are reaching out to you and saying, "Hey, I want to do an interview with you," or you know, and you're just getting what you were expecting, right? You're gonna probably continue to do that, even though you're like, you know what, this is not what I set out to do. Or you might be like, you know what, I ain't gonna do it, so I'm not gonna be a sellout, right? But I think again, when the numbers are doing well and you're seeing these videos are getting me views, you're gonna continue doing it. And a lot of people that get it, especially when they run with the same crew, they're like, okay, well, so and so is doing this, huh? I want to do it too. Let me try it, and then it does well for so and so as well. Now it's like everybody's doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And then it's hard to be like, you know what? Let me take a step back and hope that if I do something else, it's gonna give me as great of a result. So that's why it becomes tricky being a content creator. And a lot of people I've met, they get burned out easily because of it because they don't really want to be creating that stuff. But it's like this is what's paying the bills. This is what's getting the views. So it's like you got to go where the money's going. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you treat it like if you treat it like a business,
yeah,
you would fully understand that you know, I guess it's like if you're a stripper, right? Maybe you don't like it, maybe you're against it, whatever the case would be, you do it until you make enough money and your savings gotta be on point,
yep,
right? Your savings gotta be on point. And then when you start to get into so like I'll do interviews and I'll talk some ghetto shit, right?
yeah,
But that's not completely everything. We spoke about some stuff that are maybe most of the people that even view this are not interested in it. Maybe a lot of people that watch it say, "No, I support BBLs and I want to have the surgery." And okay, but there's a lot of young girls that's dying.
yeah.
So if I can't get 100,000 people, maybe I can get 10. Maybe one, you know, maybe I can get 10,000. I said 100,000, 100. You know, so I do understand that. You know, um, but also we have to start get to a point where you know we're older. Like you said, most of the people over 30. You know, over
Yeah.
30. I think you can mix it.
Yep.
You could do 5 sexual videos and do one about technology or one about I don't know, investments and you know, stuff like that. So I
One
think
thing too with I mean with YouTube and just content creating in general, it's like this niche thing, right? You get stuck in this niche, and it's like the algorithm promotes things that are in a niche, right? So then it becomes a thing of okay, will people accept me if I like post about finance or crypto or whatever it is because this is not what you're used to, right? So I think that's also what scares people. And sometimes either you have to like create different channels and like just funnel the people from your other one into that one, and like it's almost like it doesn't let you be multidimensional, and as human beings we have to be multidimensional. It's like our lives, we do so much, right? Just because we don't post it on social media, we do so much other stuff. So um that's what I think we need to fix with social media and these algorithms. Is like instead of promoting these niches, make it a thing where it's like, hey, on Mondays you post about crypto or finance, and then on Tuesdays you post your sketches, and then on Wednesdays you know what I mean. So I really like that. But one person I will highlight that I think did really well and like kind of stepping out of it. I don't know if you're familiar with Kanigra.
yes. Oh, she was a beast. She came out of nowhere and just went
Yep.
hard. Yep.
So Kanigra's doing really, 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 really well, right? She started doing sketches almost around. I think she started like maybe a little bit before me, but it was the same thing. She just decided to really go crazy with it. And she was getting put in the sketches where it was, the sexy girl or whatever it is, right? But then she took the power in it and she did a little bit of that where it was not raunchy, but it was still like relationship stuff and sexual or whatever it is you can say. But then she started branching out of it, and then she started making, like, now she has a channel that's doing really crazy numbers, but it's based on, she makes it more family friendly type. She's doing things with kids and families, and so and it's creative stuff that you would see on TV, and I'm like, that's like, she took a platform and made it her own, and said, I want to do it my way. You know what I mean? So it's possible, but it's also a thing. It's like you have to hope that it just goes well, because that could have easily been like, you know what, we don't like this content, we don't want to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, one time I remember she was doing a lot of she doing sexual stuff as well, a type of content, and she's funny as hell, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she did something with her. I don't know if that's her mom for real or mom during the skit. And I was like, this is something different. And her
Yeah.
mom was laying down something like that, and it was nothing sexual, but it was funny. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's different. Um, I think what it is that obviously I'm not the YouTube or social media guru, but I do know how to reinvent yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I just came out of prison, right, for 10, 20 years, and I put a suit on, or I dress a certain way, smell a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
look a certain way, speak a certain way. I just from yesterday I was locked up. Today I just rebranded myself. I meet you, you have no idea what I did yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or maybe you know what I did, but guess what? Over time, you're right. So if you have someone that's a mess up, right? They've been fucking up a lot during their life, and
Mm-hmm.
then they keep on doing good things over a time period. You just slowly removing the stuff you did wrong. You just got to constantly, even when you fall on hard times, you got so rebranding is companies do all the time. Companies file bankruptcy, close that corporation, and they just rebrand it. Same employees. Someone answer the phone. Hey, you're Mike. Yeah. Hey, man, you may change the company name, but you got my $500. You ripped me off of it. No, this is a new company. I didn't take it. That was the old me.
Yeah. No, yeah,
uh,
rebranding is definitely a thing, and I guess you just have to know how to do it, and really stick to it. Like you said, it's a thing
I
of you
think
have to
so.
constantly keep doing it, and you can change. It's kind of like I hate to use this analogy, but it's like drug addicts. It's like, yeah, I was a drug
Yeah.
addict, but I went to get clean, and I did this and I did that. I'm not saying I'm a drug addict, but but you know what I mean. So it's like one of those where you can convince people eventually, but you have to really be consistent about it, and that's the main thing: consistency. It's really that.
Consistency, believe in it, and just move forward. I think if you did something one time, if you did something with, sexual content, and maybe you got a daughter now. So things, as we get older, things have to change. I think you can do both, right? Because either way, you're still having sex, right? You
Yeah.
can still do your sexual content because even though you're doing your positive things, I mean, preachers, pastors do all the time, right? They're sitting there talking about the word of God, Jesus Christ, and they're banging the chick in the first pew.
Yep.
So you can do both.
You know what's crazy? It's and it kind of goes into like the OnlyFans world too. When if you want, we can tap into that. But social media makes it this cool thing to like put your private life out there, right? All these things that used to be private are now public, and it's like, you can talk about sex, and you can talk about who you fucked and who you didn't fuck, what positions you did, and it's this normal thing. It's cool. So it's like, and it's content. People are gonna watch it, right? So it's like it gives you an incentive to like, okay, let me talk about it. But then it's like it kind of takes away that um there was something special about it. Like that used to be special back then. Now it ain't special no more. You know what I mean?
So
So
what's your OnlyFans? I'm gonna go on it right now and subscribe.
wait, no, I don't have one. No, I don't have one. For some reason, I've been getting a lot of people saying, "When are you going to get on OnlyFans?" And it's weird because OnlyFans, you don't only have to put sexual content on there, right? But because it has that's what it's known for now. I'm like, I wouldn't like, even if I would go on OnlyFans and talk about crypto or acting, I'm just like, I don't want to be associated with the name of it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Now, what OnlyFans is that the reason why OnlyFans is so such a good platform because of the fact that I think they pay out daily
Oh,
and
okay.
they're different than YouTube. YouTube takes 30%
They
of
don't
all
take, or
transactions.
what does OnlyFans take? They take like a set
They
price,
take a set I think a percentage. They take a percentage like 3%. Some crazy like
but
7%,
it's
three
like a
percent.
small compared to like
Very
30.
small compared to YouTube is 30%. That's a big difference. And I
And that's
believe they
just,
pay out every day. So,
people are making bank off of it. Yeah.
oh, I was about to sell, but people. I think there was someone that was selling like it was making like 5,000 a week by selling jars of fart. I was like,
What?
someone's
On
buying. Yeah,
OnlyFans?
yeah, man.
So what,
OnlyFans.
they
It's
would post it and then just be like, "Hey, who wants to buy it?" Like, what do you mean?
yeah. This jar of fart. Ate ice cream. This is ice cream flavor.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's crazy what you can like monetize on the internet. Like even foot pictures. Like the fact that feet pictures are really a thing and men will pay good money for it, it blows my mind. And people have told me, "Are you selling feet pictures?" I'm like, "Nope." People have said to me, "Hey, you should sell feet pictures. You would make a killing off of it." I'm like, "Listen, I understand, but a part of me just can't. I can't accept. I can't do it. I can't accept it. It just makes me feel dirty." And men will. I've heard of women sending women money to do their toes, like go get a pedicure, and then send me the picture that I'm asking for. Like, so on top of the paying a couple hundred for a feet picture, you're also letting me go get pampered. Like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy the fact that men will pay for it. Women would never. That's my thing. Women would never. Like, you tell a woman, "Hey, you want a picture of my foot?" They're like, "We're gonna look at you crazy." Men just be doing the wildest things.
What are your Kevin Samuels?
Oh man, don't even get me started on Kevin Samuels.
Are you
um,
pro or con Kevin Samuels?
I'm both. I am both, and this it's see with me, you're always gonna get both because I can get both sides of everything. So with him, I feel like he has a point in a lot of stuff he says. Right? There's a lot of things wrong with relationships and men and women in today's society, but he's a little extreme. I would say that he has a good, very good points, and I'm like, you know what? I can see how that would make men and women a lot better in their relationships, but he takes it like way too far. Like his opinion of how women and should be should let their men cheat on them, and there is no such thing as high value women, but there's such thing as high value men. I'm like, okay, all right, but there's certain things I'm like, you know what, you had a point there, because there are certain gender roles, and certain things just make for better relationships. And if you're out there being a hoe, how can you expect for a man to wife you up? Like, there are certain things I'm like, you know what, that makes sense. But there are certain things I'm like, man, you took that too far, and you just sound very what's the word, misogynistic. I can never say it.
No, you're right. You're good.
I said it. I said the word
Yeah.
misogynistic. Okay. So that's what I think about Kevin Samuels. But I would love to one day have a conversation with this man. But I know for a fact he's gonna tear me apart.
Would you ever, when he's live, would you ever call up?
I considered it, and my boyfriend was like, "Don't do it. Don't you do it. He's gonna tear you apart." Because this is the problem with Kevin Samuels, right? I can argue and I can discuss things with people all day, every day, right? But when you start breaking everything I say apart, I'm done. I'm done right there, because sometimes I say things and it makes sense in my head, and as I'm processing it, I'm gonna say it, right? And sometimes I say the word or the sentence properly. I'm Hispanic, so sometimes it don't even make sense. Okay, so now I say something to Kevin Samuels and he tears it apart and he completely misses the point of what I was saying. I'll be pissed. So if I were to call up and I'm gonna say something, I'm like, I don't agree with you here, he's gonna nitpick it, and then it's just not even gonna make sense, when the whole time it made perfect sense. And that's what I see he does with a lot of people. He breaks their fucking argument apart to the point where it doesn't even make sense, even though it started off making sense. It makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. So you're into fitness, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So how often you work out?
I would say like 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah.
Why is health important to you?
For many reasons. So one, I know that like right now I feel healthy, but I know for a fact one day if I don't take care of my body now, I'm gonna reach a point where everything's gonna hurt. I'm just gonna feel like shit, right? So it's more for the future of making sure that when I get to a certain age, I can still enjoy life to an extent. And then also feeling good, like, you know, your face, your skin tells you like, hey, there's something wrong. Your body feels weird. Like if you have extra pounds, you don't feel your most confident. So it's about mental health, because I know what I look like in the mirror. I know what I feel like inside, and if something's off, I'm gonna feel like shit. You know, everything in life could be great, but if those things are not feeling like aligning, I'm gonna feel like shit inside and look like shit. So yeah, I would say that's why.
What do you feel about marriage?
Huh. I'm a hopeless romantic. I've always been one. I'm a Cancer, so that tells you everything you need to know.
You cry a lot, right? You pretend to be tough, and then you're like,
exactly. So I believe in that whole like fairy tale marriage thing, right? But obviously throughout life I've learned that marriage is not a fairy tale thing, and marriage is a contract, right? 100% it's a contract. So I feel like if you love somebody, you don't really need to marry them for that. And I don't really agree that, oh, well, if you marry me, that means you're more serious about me. Because I know people that have been together for 20 years and they're more committed to each other than people that are married for 5 years. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessary. I think it can be beautiful, and like if you do the whole like, I think marriage, the real picture of wanting a marriage for me is like wanting to do the whole shebang and like doing the altar and all that stuff. But the rest of it, it's like, why do I need this piece of paper? Why do I really need to do all this? You know what I mean? So,
yep, I totally understand. Women twerking on tables in restaurants.
At restaurants, not even like at a club.
Restaurants.
I mean,
that's happening. You know,
that's ratchet as fuck. I don't know how else to put it. Listen, man, if you having fun and you're not bothering nobody, then hey, all pleasure to you. But if you're just doing it to be fucking just vulgar and just to get attention at a family restaurant, that like, why are you doing all that?
Okay, so you're gonna help me out. Okay, so you've heard of the term simp, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I've created the word simp. I'm actually the simp king. You know, I have a crown and everything. Yep, I have a simp kingdom, right? So help me get out of that. Okay?
I need details. How are you a simp king, and how did you details?
I can't get into that, you know, but you can help me get out of it. So, one thing that's happening is that men are currently, a lot of men that claim they're red pill, whatever the case may be, they are more comfortable with speaking to women online than in person. How would you like to be approached? How would a guy? It's you and two of your friends, standing outside just talking. How should a guy? He has to talk to you. He has to talk to you, right? How would he do that? Simple.
I'm gonna tell you how he should not approach me.
I think that works. Okay.
So definitely don't come on here like, hey mama, can I get your number? Like I saw you over there, you was mad beautiful. I don't like that shit because you do that shit to everybody. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Especially if you're mad smooth with it. I'm like, listen, you do this for a living. So I don't want to hear it, okay?
What if he says you're thick?
Huh?
What if he says you're thick?
I'm like, okay, thank you, but like, okay.
I know you don't like when people call you thick, right? Can you believe they're calling you fat? I watch the content.
That was a joke. I mean, listen, because if he calls me thick, he's saying I look good, whatever. But I'm like, you're looking at my body, like, okay, the best way to, okay, I'm gonna go back on what I said. I'm gonna tell you how the best way to do it.
Okay.
I want you to have a genuine conversation with me. Like, even if you single me out, like, I don't want you to, like, over here woo the crowd. I want you to single me out and have a genuine conversation with me. Don't be like, oh, hey, you're cute or whatever. Like, if you generally looked over at me and you was like, hey, I think she's beautiful and I'm getting, like, a certain vibe or energy from her, that alone will be like, okay. But if you just come to me with, like, I'm beautiful, I'm be like, okay, that's nothing special about that. So I feel like I want to have more of a connection. I want it to be more of like, okay, make me feel like you don't just go up to every girl you think is beautiful. Like I need to be like, you got a certain energy, you got something, like something else other than I look good. And I know that's not what people want to hear, but that's me. So it's like I want simps.
So
So it's like you telling me, get me out of the simp position. I'm like, no, simps are great. I don't know why everybody's talking shit about simps. They're great. We need more simps. I'm tired of the fuck boys. Fuck, we need that shit for.
Well, the simp is simp. The simp, being a simp, is really about doing something for somebody and not being appreciated. It could be doing something for your family, but that's mainly what it is. Like, right? You take a woman out and it's just not appreciated, or you say give a woman a compliment and it's not appreciated, and you say you still call her queen.
Okay.
You know, so that's mainly what simping is. So, who killed romance? Who killed it?
Man or woman?
You tell me.
Definitely women, 100%. We call men simps. And you know what? It is true. I wish it wasn't true, but the men that we should go for, or most women should go for, we usually turn them down and we want the cool bad guy, whatever the hell it is. So it's like, and they're not going to be romantic. You know, you're going to have the guy that's doing the romantic stuff. You're like, nah, I want nothing to do with him, or he's a loser or whatever it is. But the guy that's doing nothing for you, you like, oh, I want him. I'm into, you know what I mean? So we definitely killed it, 100%. And then we accept men that don't do nothing for us. We accept the men that don't do none of the romantic stuff. So it's like, yeah, we 100% killed it. we ruined it for ourselves.
So listen, 2022 is probably within less than 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
What are you currently working on? How what do you want people to support you
on? The YouTube content. 100% the YouTube content. I just have a lot of.
Are you gonna start posting on there?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say next. So I've been so inconsistent. I've always been inconsistent on YouTube. For some reason, when I was like my prime, I guess you could call it, I was just Instagram, right? And I regret not taking more advantage of YouTube, right? Because YouTube was what paying people. YouTube was, you know, and even Facebook and all this other stuff. But just posting different stuff. I think everybody's expecting me to come back and post all these sketches like the ones I was doing, and I'm like, the stuff I'm planning on dropping is completely different. So I'm not really scared of dropping, because like if you guys support me, then you know you support me, and if you don't, I like the content I'm putting. You know what I mean? So it's that. But if you guys can give it a shot and give it a chance, and be like, you know what, let me see what her comedy is like. Let me see. And I also like drama. I like the dark stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a female. We like dark and twisty shit, like, you know, killers and, and stuff. So yeah, support whatever I drop. Just go watch it, give it a like, and leave a comment. Tell also feedback. I feel like people don't give enough feedback, like bad feedback. Like, let me know, like, this was trash. Do this better. Do that better. I feel like people always just say, oh, that was great. That was great. That was great. Oh my God, yay. But bad feedback is even better, because now I can bring better stuff. If you keep telling me I'm doing great, but I'm doing trash, how do you want to expect me to get better? So yeah.
How do you want people to support you?
Just go watch whatever I post and give it a like and comment on it and share it. That's all you really need. And follow me on, like, you know, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of them stuff.
What's one thing you want to tell your supporters? One word.
That's impossible.
One word. Okay, a few words.
A few words of what I want to tell them.
Yeah.
Be better humans. That's it. Don't even support me. Just be a better human. That's literally all it is.
So we're gonna put you in what's called the hot seat. Okay. So the hot seat is basically you have to answer this question or statement with one word. Okay. You will be judged.
So I have to answer a question or statement with one word.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you've met me because I cannot speak with one word. I'm kidding. This is a great challenge. Let's do it. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Henriquez.
Me?
Kevin Samuels or Derek Jackson?
Kevin Samuels.
Height or income?
Income.
Relationships.
Ha!
What state you don't want to live in?
Connecticut.
No. So when you never been. So when you never been to before?
Washington D.C. No, that's not. Nope. Actually, nope. Virginia.
Yeah. Virginia. Okay. How to go to heaven?
Die.
Short or long hair?
Long hair. Long.
YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube.
Family.
Complicated.
Makeup. Dragon Ball Z.
It's cool.
Ice cream or grass juice?
Ice cream.
Fake ass.
BBL.
That's 3 words, right? Brazilian butt lift.
It's 1 word. Okay. What did you say? Big butt. You said?
Fake ass.
Fake ass.
Fake.
Instagram. Instagram baddies.
America.
Complicated.
$1 million.
Money. I don't know. Millionaire.
Bitches.
1 word. Crazy.
Haters.
One word. Haters. Whatever.
It's free.
Nah. Nothing's free.
Flowers or chicken?
Chicken. The flowers die.
For Valentine's Day, flowers or chicken? Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
This interview.
Fun.
That was my next question. Did you have fun?
I did.
You did?
A lot of laughing and a lot of, we went into a lot of different topics.
Yeah, a lot of different topics. So, listen, I highly do appreciate you even allowing me to interview you. I do wish you, best luck and for you to be safe. And I really, really do appreciate you.
I appreciate you for letting me do this. This was fun. Like, I didn't even know why you want to interview me for.